Hello everyone, welcome back again. This is the third lecture for class 12 of chapter genetics. In the last video, we have already discussed about the different kinds of terminology related to the genetics like genotype, phenotype, and what is gene, allele, and many more terms related to genetics. In the last segment of the last video, we have discussed about the types of cross, that is the monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, test cross, outcross, backcross, and reciprocal cross. What is the meaning of these different kind of crosses? Let me tell you one thing. We will discuss each and every cross and separately from monohybrid and dihybrid cross because it is most important for the Mendelian genetics. So let's start about the Mendelian genetics and the first cross, which is most important, and we will find that all the cross which is necessary in this segment of this chapter will relate to the monohybrid cross maximum. So the monohybrid means single contrasting character related to the organism is called a monohybrid cross. It's consideration as a one contrasting character. Okay, suppose we are taking as a height, color, shape. These different kinds of contrasting is a single characteristics separately. So take a look about the characteristics of monohybrid cross and what is the monohybrid cross and how we defined as monohybrid. As I told you earlier, we should take a character, a single character. Now I am here taking as a single character, that is height of the plant. Height, either tallness or dwarfness, both are height. Tall of the plant, it is also a height, and dwarf of the plant, it is also height. Doesn't means some plant is a shorter and some plant is a longer, doesn't difference with the height. Just because of height we are differentiate from the plants. So the height of the plant having tall plant and dwarf plant. Can you tell me dwarf plant or tall plant is external appearance or not? Yes, it is external appearance. That means we can simply write here it is tallness of plant. We can simply say it as phenotype. Is it or not? Yes, it is phenotype, tallness of plant, and it is also dwarfness of plant. That means it is an external appearance of the plant, dwarfness. Okay, so it is a phenotype, and phenotype of the height is one is tallness and second one is dwarfness. As I told you, the genetic representation of phenotype is called as genotypic. So we should consider each and every point in the form of gene. So tall plant having the genotype in the form of capital T and capital T. As you know that gene is always represent in the paired form. Always represent in the paired form. So here it is a dominance and it is a recessive. Always we can take as a just opposite of capital letter. That means we cannot take here capital T, and we cannot write here the other letter. That means small d or capital D. We just write just opposite of the phenotypic of more dominancy plant. So it is the dominant over dwarf plants. It is the another matters. Now tell me one thing. It is the genotype And as you know that each and every cell or meiotic cell or germinal cell having consideration under the meiosis division, that is the reductional division, each and every parental cell having the meiosis division and after the formation of gamete. So it is the parent or it is the gamete. Suppose it is 2n. As you know that after the completion of meiosis, it is consideration as n. That's why it is a n or simple t. Is it okay? Now here is also it is a reduction in all those recessive characteristics. It is gamete. Suppose it is a tall plant of male flower plant and dwarf plant, it is a female plant. So it is a male gamete and it is a female gamete. Just take an example. After the formation of this gamete, the gamete will cross and to form a progeny or product. That is the product. Capital T cross with a small t. This will be the form as a capital T and a small t together. And this is the F1 generation. You always remember one thing, F1 generation. In the F1 generation, if the plant is tall or homotall and the plant is dwarf, then the product will be heterogeneous tall obtained. Like it is also tall. I told you in the last segment of the video, it is dominant over small t. That's why it is also a phenotypically tallness showing. Is it okay? I told you in the last segment of the video about the selfing. What is the selfing? Selfing means the cross between same kind of organism or product. That is the product it obtained in the F1 generation and same kind of product crossing together to form a different kinds of. Now can you tell me, here it is a reduction takes place and it forms a gamete, two different gametes. These all are gametes. This is the gamete, is form 1t and 2t. Here both are t. If the t will cross or reduction towards, it always be a same type of gamete. So that's why we are taking always as a single here. But here the two different allele are shown in a gene. That's why the two different gamete will formed. Is it okay? Now the product of these, suppose it is male and it is female, this gamete can be multiplied with this gamete. This is possibilities or not? Yes, this is a possibility. This capital T gamete can be crossed with capital T and a small t, so that this capital T cross with capital T to form a capital T and capital T. That means homotall. Is it okay? Now one more time, capital T again cross with these small t. This is possibility. We are doing here the possibilities. This t can be crossed with small t and the product will formed as a capital T and a small t. Same here, small t can be crossed with a capital T and to form here. Can you tell me, can we write like this, capital T after the small t? No, never. It will be a wrong, because we always write a dominance letter first, always. Is it okay? So capital T and small t formed in the next generation. So again, the possibility of this dwarf of the tallness, this gamete can be crossed with this gamete to form small t and small t. Now it is the F2 generation. It is F2 generation. Now what will be the resultant of this reaction, this cross? What will be the resultant? In this F2 generation, can you see here, this is the capital T and capital T, they are all are different from this. So this capital T and capital T is called as homozygous tall plant, where we are written in the F1 generation, before the F1 generation, parental generation, that is the 1 in number. Is it okay? While capital T and small t, as I told you in the F1 generation, just because capital T dominant over small t, it shows the tallness character, not of dwarfness character. This is the dwarfness character of allelic form of this dwarf plant. But here the capital T is dominant over the small t. That's why it is also a tallness of plant, and their genotypic is 2. And small t, this is also dwarf plant, homozygous dwarf plant. The number of this is 1. So can you tell me, this is tallness of the plant and this is also tallness of the plant. Physically appearance, externally appearance. We told you at the last time, in the last video, we will not consider in the phenotypic as a homozygous or heterozygous. We will consider always as a their resultant, like homozygous tall, heterozygous tall. That means the nature of plant is tall. Tall is 3, that is the phenotypic nature. What is the nature? Nature is 3 tall and 1 dwarf. This is the nature of the plant, physical appearance. That's why it is the ratio 3:1. That means 3 tall and 1 dwarf. Can you write this sequence in a percentage form? That means 75% of the plant is tall, while 25% plant of the plant shows dwarfness of plant. In F2 generation, here are some different kinds of question also rising. If any question, if anyone asks you in question, suppose 25% of progeny will dwarf, okay, then the two questions will arising from, what will be the generation of this percentage? That means in which generation the resultant will 25% of dwarfness. That means if the 25% of plant is dwarf, that other means 75% of the plant is tall. This is the hints for your question arising. If the question asks 25% dwarf, that means you should remember one point also related to this, that 75% plant is tall. This is understood. You have to understand that point. That is 75%. That means ratio will be 3:1 and the product will be homozygous tall and homozygous dwarf, parental generation. Is it clear, my dear? You have to learn this monohybrid cross very carefully, because each and every cross will relate to this point and you will always crossing in the genetics. So you have to clear on this point, okay? And the genotypic, that means the genetic representation of phenotypic is 1:1. That means 1:2:1. 1 is homozygous tall, 2 is heterozygous tall. Here in the genotypic, We will not consider it as a phenotypic, either tall or tall, hetero or homo. Doesn't mean. We will always consider as the genetic representation. How many numbers of genetic representation are occurs for a separately and for the particular characteristics. Is it clear? So you have to remember one thing, that is the ratio of the phenotypic and genotypic. The phenotypic ratio is 3:1, while the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Is it clear? Now here I want to tell you one more thing, that this is the simple cross, and we can take as a Punnett square box also for the crossing. Like suppose the gamete will be formed in the monohybrid cross is 2, that is it is the Punnett square box, and here the male and here the female, and the male produced the gamete capital T and small t, while female also produced capital T and small t. Now in this box we will write the crossing between these two, that means capital T and capital T. In this box we will cross over the capital T and small t. The resultant will like this. In this box capital T cross with small t, the resultant will capital T and small t. In this box small t and small t, that is the resultant. Here as simple is that. Punnett square box is more easier than these crossings, because it is very easy for the monohybrid cross, but it will be very difficult for the dihybrid and trihybrid and many more crossing. So it is the Punnett square box, and you have to remember one thing. If the monohybrid cross, in monohybrid cross, the square of Punnett, number of square Punnett box is 4. That means here the formula is arising, that means the Punnett square box. It is Punnett square box, okay. And the number of boxes in the monohybrid cross, that is the formula of number of box for the Punnett square, 4 to the power n, where n is number of hybrid cross. That means here if we can take here the 4 to the power 1, that is 4, the number of boxes will be 4. Is it okay? Here you have to remember this formula, okay. So here the monohybrid cross will monohybrid cross completed. Here we are going to study about the dihybrid cross. Now I am going to tell you one thing about the dihybrid cross, and you can also think about the dihybrid cross. Let it be about the dihybrid cross. Now I introduce about the number of gamete and types of gamete, how can be obtained from. Like suppose it is the cross or hybrid cross, how many number of gamete and how many types of gamete will formed, we are going to see here, okay. So write a question about the number of gamete and types of gamete. This is the question. Suppose A, B, B, C, C. Can you tell me the name of the hybrid cross? Yes, it is trihybrid cross, because it is the characteristic from 1, 2 and 3 always be taken in the pair form. So it is trihybrid cross. In this form, can you tell me about the number of gamete and types of gamete and types of gamete. Now I am giving the simple formula related to this. If you don't have idea how you can solve it, this is the formula. Don't be confused here. The number of gamete, that means how many number of gamete. Just take one more example related to R. This is the monohybrid. One more another. This is third, and capital T, small t, capital R, small r. This is the dihybrid cross. Okay. Here n is equal to total number of gene. That means it doesn't mean either homozygous or heterozygous or any kind of others. That means the number of gene kitna 3. So here 2 to the power 3. That means 2 is to 2 is to 2. The number of gamete will be 8 for this. While the 2 to the power n, here also 2 to the power n, and the formula will same. But how can we consider the different kinds of gamete or types of gamete? The types of gamete will formed as a, here the n will refers to number of heterozygous. Here it is important, heterozygous. Is it clear? How many heterozygous form in this cross? Only 1. So the reaction and types of gamete will be 2 to the power n, that means 2 to the power 1, that means 2. 2 types of gamete will be taking place in this reaction, and the number of gamete will be 8. This is for you. You have to solve this. Problem in your notebook. And right now, just even if we have to see before some time. That is the monohybrid cross, and it is that means the number of gamete will be 2 to the power 1, that means 2. Number of gamete will be formed 2, and types of gamete, there is no any kind of heterozygous. So 2 to the power 0, and types of gamete will be formed as 1, because this is a mathematical calculation and you know much better. That means the types of gamete will be 1, that is R and R, while the number of gamete will be 2. Is it okay? This is the one more time. Types of gamete, that means 2 to the power n. This is the types of gamete. Types of gamete is equal to, this is the number of gamete, and this is the types of gamete. Okay. Number of gamete 2 to the power 1, and this is the types of gamete. And what is about the types of gamete? Types of gamete for heterozygous. This is the heterozygous na? Yes. 2 to the power 2, that means 2 into 2 is 4, while number of gamete 2 to the power n, where it is also a 2, that means 2 into 2 is equal to 4. Number of gamete and types of gamete both will be 4, because both are dihybrid cross. Is it clear, my dear? This is the simplest formula, that is the number of gamete, form the number of gamete. But which type of gamete will form? You cannot consider. So which kind of gamete will be formed? Just look at this. This is the capital T and a small capital R and a small r. This is the dihybrid cross, and you have to take in the first capital T, small t. You can write separately from this. These two, capital T and capital T, may be cross with two different kinds of R. So let the arrow like this, and this R and this R. So gamete will form like TR, TR, TR and TR. This is the types of gamete. You can see in here all the gametes are different from each other. Is it okay? Well, the number of gamete is also 4. Any problem? No problem. In the next video, we will discuss about the dihybrid cross in detail. So you have to prepare about the monohybrid cross, and you have to solve all these points. And now I am giving to the more problem. So you have to solve this question. This is the homework for you all. Number of gametes and types of gametes. You have to find number of gamete and types of gamete in all these questions. Is it okay? This is the practice question. You can try in your home, at your home. Is it okay? In the next time, we will discuss about the dihybrid cross, and that is the most important, just like monohybrid cross. Dihybrid cross also most important because it is the necessary, or it is the important part for the one law of the Mendel, which we'll discuss in later. So you have to prepare better and better for monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. For dihybrid cross, we will make a video as soon as possible. For that, keep watching and stay tuned. Take care. Bye bye.